What is up everybody, Logan here coming at you guys with another video, and I haven't sat in front of the camera in a long time. So I'm excited to get into this one and to sit in front of the camera again, just go back to the good old days. Yeah, we've been doing some sports betting lately, and I had a really good day yesterday where I took $600 into about $3,300 just playing unit size betting. If you guys are into that, if you guys understand that a little bit, it's something I've been a little bit hesitant about, but I like trading options and I also like betting on sports, and I think they kind of go hand in hand because you're taking odds-based probabilities and making your decisions from there. So I really appreciate it if you guys would leave a like, a comment, and subscribe before we get into this one. But we're gonna take a deep dive and I'll show you guys the tennis picks because tennis is one of my favorite sports to bet. And then Michigan State actually was one of the biggest winners for us. We have the mural behind us and I have my shirt on. I'm not a Michigan State fan though. They're just fun to bet on. I'm a Michigan fan, so I wanted to say that. But Quinn Hallis and Samsonova were playing. I took a 2-leg parlay for -110 odds, but I got nervous and I cashed out for a $141 profit there. And if you're wondering how I make my tennis picks when it comes to my decisions, I go over to Tennis Tonic. If you guys have ever used this, they basically give their predictions on what's going to happen, and I like to take people who are supposed to win in 2 sets and I'll parlay 2 of them together, or I'll just straight bet them or bet their game sets. That's one thing that I like to do, and like Holger Rune plays today, Dennis is playing, Taylor Fritz is playing, Jeffrey Wolf, Francis Tiafoe, some of my favorite guys. So I'm going to take a look later today as these games get rolling to really hop in and like see if there's any good tennis value today. One of my favorite strategies, because I think tennis is an endurance sport more than anything else, is if the person who is favored to win in 2 sets loses the first set, you can usually get really good odds for them to come back and win sets 2 and 3. So that's a really cool way to bet. So that was the first pick, and that's how I do it, is I just come to Tennis Tonic. Then if we scroll up a little bit, I made a 3-leg parlay with Marcus Giron, Karolina Pliskova, and Barbara Krejcikova. I took the whole money like that I had won and started with for the day and tried to compound it on this one. Marcus won pretty nicely in the 3rd set. It was a little scare though. He was doing really well, and then Alex had a really good comeback in the 2nd set, and then Karolina and Barbara both swept, as was expected, right? So that came out to -175. Then I took some of my winnings from the day and actually lost $237 on this play, which is totally fine with me, like not too worried about it. I usually try to get 2 really good value picks in, and then I'll throw a decent amount and try to cash out quickly, but that did not work out here, so I ended up losing on that one. Then we took 935, and I play in unit bets, right? That's like how I bet on sports, and my typical unit size is about 500 bucks. So anytime I'm just betting a standard thing, I bet about $500. And it kind of varies like around that 450 to 550 to even 600 range, just depending on how my day was going too. And I'm trying to get just even more strict on that and like a specific amount every time I bet. So we did go to Christian Guerin, who actually won by 3 games, and I had it to where he could have lost by 3 games and I still would have won my bet. And that was basically risking 2 to make 1. We got up to 1427. So if we go over to the calculator real quick, after adding all of those matchups up, I was actually up $823. One thing I kind of regret doing was that parlay where I was trying to cash out quickly because one of them decided to start losing. They were actually up, had the serve, and then lost the break. Something I would tweak a little bit more in the future is maybe playing that smaller than half a unit, but overall, still happy with my tennis results for the day after that point. So now we get into our basketball picks, and a lot of my picks come from the Discord that we have, that I work with Lewis, Picks, Vance is in there, and also Mason. He's another sports analyst, and we go over the basketball games and football games. And I'm also big into betting golf, so if we hop over to that, this group is called Hammer It, and we have Vance's lines, Mason's picks over here. So he makes a couple picks that he likes, and I followed the Cavs and Golden State the other night, and those worked out well. Lewis had a really good night last night, hitting everything except one of his bets. And then I had a tough beat with Duke here, and I do a lot of probability plays, and then also Victor Hovland on my golf one, but I did hit the UFC and the Clippers play. We just kind of sit and chat and talk about the sports bets that we're taking. So it's really cool. It's a fun community. If you guys would like to join, you guys can actually get $10 off, which would only make it $10 a month with the code, and it's listed on the screen right here as well. So when you guys go to sign up, if you want to come check us out, see what it's all about. But overall, I was talking to Lewis, and his first play of the day was UConn and Marquette, and overall that let me keep my eyes on the game. Take Marquette live, right? Live is plus 15.5. That's what it came down to, is like 15 points. So I took 18.5, was able to parlay it with Indiana and Michigan State plus 3.5, and all of those hit. And I got a boost to make it plus 174. One unit basically paid 3, right? But you deduct the unit you put up. So I made 874 there. More importantly though, if you're wondering like, Logan, why did you pick Michigan State plus 3.5? And I'll show you guys also, and we'll come back down. But if we look up here at the Virginia, Michigan State, Kansas State, look at Virginia, right? What I do is I'm a big fan of waiting to take games live. And one reason why I do that is because you want to see how the boys are playing, right? Like, it's really easy to read the Vegas line and say, okay, I'm going to take this pick because of this reason. When it comes to actually picking teams to win, I want to make sure I'm picking a good team, right? Because even if a team's favored to win by 5 points, if they're not playing good and they're shooting really bad, like 20% from the field, or one of their big players gets hurt, the odds are going to change dramatically. So one thing I try to do here is, I was watching Virginia and they were playing well, so I'm going to throw their money line in there. But one thing I do, right, is I always believe that we're going to revert back to the Vegas line. So whatever the Vegas line opened at, you should expect the game to kind of hover around, or at least finish close to. So it's kind of just like mean reversion trading in the stock market, right? So if we go to Safari, Michigan State Maryland game, right? 3.5 point spread. Well, what did the game finish at? A 5-point difference. So they were only 1.5 points off from the Vegas line. So that's why I was confident that they would win. Kansas State, TCU. Right, I was watching Kansas State just play much better basketball, and they were also favored by 5, and they won by 21, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 21. If we take a look at Virginia's odds, they're minus 7.5 against North Carolina State, and all of these teams were also at home yesterday. And this year, for whatever reason, home teams are winning almost 80% of the time. With those 3 things kind of stacked up, you can make plays with really good odds. Wait to take them live till they have a nice lead, or overall you feel good about it. Make sure your odds come out to where your unit size makes sense. You want to find the best odds, because even shaving a couple points off, or adding an extra leg to the parlay could screw your entire position. So that's one thing, and that's the other thing I try to stress is, I don't make my parlays too big if I ever do bet them, but I also have a really solid reason for why I make these picks. That's one thing that I really believe in with line movement, and that's how I end up winning that pick earlier. Texas A&M was nice. They were favored and at home. I just sprinkled a little bit on them. What is that, 0.2 units? Just because I wanted to watch the end of the game before Michigan State came on. And it seemed like it made the most sense because I already had a lot of my plays ready to go. Marquette was plus 21.5, where I got them for minus 147 with my boost. That was a unit, and that paid about 0.4 units there. Overall, pretty happy with that position, or sorry, 0.8 units. Pretty happy about that position. I did have a loser though on this, and this game, this was kind of frustrating. So I say the same thing with the puck line, right? Like the Vegas Golden Knights, they end up winning 5-1, but the puck line was plus 1.5. The Wings puck line was plus 1.5 Detroit, so I just bought an extra point. Well, they actually lost by 3, but it was only a 1-point game with 5 minutes to go. And same with the Avs, right? The Penguins were favored by 1.5 points, and that's exactly, they just won by 1 point. By buying the plus side, I made a really nice parlay, put $250 on it, because that was the max wager on this one. So for me, that's half a unit. Didn't win, but we did have another hockey play with the last boost too, where we did take the Ducks. And the reason I took the Ducks for this pick to beat Chicago was actually because the value was plus 110, and they were going to go into overtime. So that's one thing with these 3-on-3 overtimes now in the NHL. A lot of away teams have actually been winning the overtime periods just by sheer randomness now. So I just got really good value there, put half a unit on it, and ended up winning because it got boosted to plus 165. Which actually turned, what, $250 would have only paid about $275 Actually got a nice boost to 662, which made it almost a $400, just over a $400 payout for that one. And then of course, my not so smart bet, but it did win. And this was also live betting, right? Record breaker live betting. So I'm a big live better. That's like my big thing. Was LeBron to break the record. And it was really cool to see him do it on TV. Yeah, it only paid 142, risking $1,000. Definitely not the best odds. And you know, if it would have lost, that would have sucked. There was so much press there. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was actually right there on the sidelines that I really did not think, you know, after he had 20 points at halftime, like he's gonna break the record, and he actually did it in the third quarter, and that's when I took the bet live. So we'll take that win. Really good day overall, but if we get adding up back on the calculator from where I was back there, this actually put me for a total gain of $2,786 yesterday, or just over 5.5 units for your boy. And that's one thing when it comes to sports betting is you should expect a lot of wins and a lot of losses. And that was a really good streak. And it would have been even nicer if the Red Wings didn't lose, right? I would have been up another 600 and some dollars. But I didn't revenge bet that, right? I just continued to move on past my losses and make as best decisions as I could. Right around where we are now after today, not really sure what I'm gonna do for tonight's picks just yet. I'm gonna get scanning after the stock market does close. So I'm really excited to see what you guys got down in the comment section for me on this one. But like I said, if you guys want to come check out the sports betting Discord, the link is down in the description. You will save 50% off. Instead of 20 bucks a month, you'll get the first month for 10. So you can come hang out with us, see what we're eyeing up, and just learn, make some bets. So I really appreciate all the support as always. I hope I went in depth enough with the sports betting strategy that I'm running right now. I have some golf picks for tomorrow now that we have the Waste Management Open. I really appreciate all the support as always. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. That's going to be everything for me. Have a great evening.